Pals and gals, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whoever you are, welcome back to another episode of The Company Lot. Today I want to start by showing you an image of a map. If you look at this map and think, oh boy, are these open seats on Ticketmaster? You're wrong, because these dots are security cameras. These are just a few cameras that are part of a national network of cameras owned by a private surveillance company known as Flock. They offer a range of surveillance equipment and services. Their website description reads, Flock connects communities, businesses, and public safety so incidents can be understood clearly and decisions can be made on facts. And what that actually looks like is this: 105,888 cameras and counting all over the United States. This equipment is used by police to monitor incidents and occasionally stalk their ex-girlfriend. I don't mean to give Flock executives a huge boner when I say their equipment is seemingly everywhere.
I have heard about these Flock cameras.
What is this?
We hate Flock safety! Every step towards a surveillance state makes every step away from it harder. Get lost with your stupid drones.
Flock cameras are a hot topic all around the country and here in the city of Cleveland. Now, that contract for the Flock is expected to expire at the end of this month.
At the very top of their product list is the Flock Safety License Plate Reader. These cameras are capable of tracking individual license plates, but not just the numbers, the state as well. And if a car doesn't have a license plate, these cameras can log unique information about a vehicle, such as a bumper sticker. So anyone you know with like a decaying coexist sticker right above their Obama 2012 sticker, they can record that in the Flock safety system. When you hear license plate reader, you're just thinking it's recording cars, but the Flock cameras are not limited to just intersections. They're also found in public spaces. Spaces that you may have never known that these cameras have popped up and have been recording you for some time. Their standard policy is to delete information after 30 days, unless otherwise specified by a customer's specific contract. Previously, Flock claimed customer data was not sold, but recently that term was removed from their terms and conditions, so there is no guarantee that these recordings are deleted. And recently, YouTuber Ben Jordan has figured out that this information is not very secure. He was able to access a lot of these recordings with what he describes as not much difficulty. So to reiterate, this is a private company with over 100,000 cameras across the country that are recording and logging information from intersections and public spaces, and you have no clue if that information is actually deleted after 30 days. That information could be used for a number of things. It could be sold. It could be used inappropriately to track someone who is not a criminal. It could even serve as the baseline data to record and track the way you walk. However, Flock cameras do not operate in peace because right now, the children are being radicalized by images of broken Flock cameras edited to Ace of Base. And we'll show you the edit, obviously, without the music because we don't, want to get into it. I'm already talking shit about Flock. I don't want to get into it with Universal Music as well. Now I want to say this. These broken images of cameras to this song give it a little bit of edge, right? It feels a bit revolutionary. And I'm a little bit jealous of that edge because for me, growing up with this song was like a guilty pleasure. I would never dare admit I like this song. I just admitted I liked this song probably a few years ago. The amount of times I sat in the back of a minivan with my extended family and Ace of Base would come on, and I would innocently want to call out to the front of the car, like, turn this louder. I like this song, but I have to stop myself because there was a man at the front of that car who would ask me in front of the extended family, hey, why the fuck you want to hear this song louder? And now I'm explaining why I want Ace of Base louder to a man who is so comfortable hitting children. I mean, I've seen this man beat the dog shit out of children, and I would be first up on that chopping block if I'm sitting there asking for Ace of Base to be even 2 decibels louder, so I'd have to like slump back. Anyway, the ability to attack Flock safety cameras is made a lot easier by a website called DFlock. DFlock shows you every camera in your area, even what agencies they share the information with. They show what direction the camera is pointing, who owns the camera, and even how to avoid them. You remember when people used Waze? I think some people still do. I actually think my dad called me recently and he said I'm using Waze. And I'm like, Dad, I don't think they update that app anymore. You might end up in oncoming traffic. But regardless, There was this pocket of time where Waze in Los Angeles had this like really sick feature of sending you through the most life-threatening intersections with no stoplights to try to save you 3 minutes of time. And I would say that's about what D-Flock does with their, pathing. It's extremely inconvenient. You're probably going through intersections that probably up your death rate 5%, needing to look left and right. But it's either that or you go the regular way, you get documented by flock cameras, and your ex-cop boyfriend learns about your new, artistic skinny boyfriend. And he goes and shoots him in the doorway of his apartment because you're not allowed to date other people anymore. And you didn't know that. But using D-Flock is not the only way to avoid flock safety cameras. There's also this. Something I'm going to talk about a lot in this episode is the typical defense for technology like Flock. You're in public and you have the ability to be recorded anyway. But just because you can be recorded doesn't mean you should. You know those people who call themselves First Amendment auditors? I think we're all familiar with this person. They go to like a Barnes & Noble or a cannabis store, and they're just out there with an iPhone on a gimbal trying to make people angry, which is honestly a really effective method of having a YouTube channel. There are people creating serious art, short films, visual masterpieces, and they don't even get close to what some of these First Amendment auditors are getting out here on YouTube. But that's besides the point. These people, when they get to harassing someone, they always invoke the First Amendment like they're a constitutional Harry Potter. They just start, it's not illegal to film here. That's what a flock camera is. It's that person as a camera. But the difference is a flock safety camera doesn't have rights or a family that you have to consider. So naturally, people want to take an obvious step, which is to destroy them.
Oh no, how will we be safe in this community now that somebody ran this fucking flock camera over and made off with the solar panel, by the way? Damn.
Now, in the last week or so, there have been plenty of sarcastic posts about how to destroy a flock camera, and I'm going to show you those in just a moment. But I want to be clear. A lot of these clips, they are subtly encouraging you to, destroy this property. I'm not doing that, right? I'm showing you this just to kind of give you the full spectrum of what's going on. I am not encouraging you to destroy flock safety cameras. These people are, I'm not. Let's make an important distinction there. As a matter of fact, I want to pass on to you just a small piece of advice from my lawyer. I told her I was making this video, and she said it would behoove me if I didn't try to give the people just a little bit of context on the legal ramifications if you were to destroy a flock safety camera. So just, if you could, give her the floor. Just 60 seconds.
You want to vandalize all of the flock cameras in Denver. I researched this for you so you can understand your risk. I'll tell you what you'll get charged with, but I'll tell you why I researched this first. So I actually was going to do a political demonstration where I at least spray paint one. For me personally, to get a felony actually isn't a big deal because of just the privilege that I have. I work for myself and I don't rent, so I don't need to apply.
And that's something that's really important that you all understand about my lawyer. She is a 21st century girl boss who can afford a felony. Unlike you broke boys, looking at all the unemployed men out there, she can handle it, okay? She can stomach a girl boss felony, unlike you all. But she was thinking of people like you who cannot afford it, okay? So she did this research for you who cannot afford a felony.
The only reason I don't want to do it is one, because I think I will encourage other people to do it who will have, life-changing effects after that.
I could end Flock as a business. That's the problem, is if I encourage it, guaranteed all 106,000 cameras smashed out as soon as this video goes out. That's why I can't encourage it, okay? And we kind of come from the same lens in that way.
And two, it's really annoying and expensive to litigate. And go to court.
Make no mistake, litigation I can afford monetarily. It's just annoying. That's the problem. and would be massively annoying for you. Again, these are my lawyer's words, and she's looking out for you. But let's look at, in the state of Colorado, if you were to bust out one of these cameras, let's look at what could happen to you.
First thing that you would get is criminal mischief, and so you would actually fit into the felony charge, which is damaging property that is worth over $2,000 in Colorado. So you would get that felony because these cameras are often $2,500 to $3,000 each. The second charge you would get is tampering with public equipment. This one is often also charged as a felony because the equipment is for law enforcement use. Third charge would be obstruction of government operations. If the vandalism affects an investigation or law enforcement function, prosecutors can add this. It's usually a misdemeanor, but it can escalate depending on certain circumstances. So it depends on your lawyer, it depends on the evidence they have, things like that. The fourth charge is trespassing or attempted theft or burglary. So if you entered a property and tried to remove the equipment, that can get stacked on. The fifth is reinstitution. So you would be in charge of paying for the fixing and the returning of the camera back to its place. Now the sixth point is where it can start to escalate, and this would probably happen because of the flock cameras. So if the camera was a part of a joint task force or federally funded project, tampering could trigger federal obstruction, property damage statuses, etc. That's where you can start hitting the federal charges.
Obviously, my lawyer brings up some good points, which is, at the end of the day, if you do destroy one of these cameras, it could go bad for you legally, and I would not want any of you to end up in that scenario. But, not everyone feels the same. There are people who are very comfortable putting out explainers on how to damage these cameras.
So I'm approaching this camera from behind, very mindful, very demure. Flock camera, meet sign. These cameras are very high up, but the pole is not sturdy at all and could easily be cut down.
The only issue I'm seeing here is Amazon would have no problem turning over the sales data for the random spike in green lasers. So, that part is unfortunate. What I have learned, though, is apparently a lot of these flock safety cameras have a decent amount of RAM in them. And so maybe if you bust them out and you took out the RAM, and if you were about to be arrested, you're like, it's for a data center, it's for AI, I want to give this for AI. Then the cops go, oh, why didn't you say that? Matter of fact, stick your leg out real quick. That's for touching the camera in the first place, but we'll pack you up. Don't worry. We'll get you in the ambulance and we'll get that taken care of. Your insurance should be able to handle that, yeah. Now, there's a recent trend that's cropped up called deflocking, where people post themselves, again, destroying a flock camera, and they seem to be encouraging other people to do it. This makes me pause to think about my generation and how we were all out there getting CTE, taking joyrides in shopping carts, and that was because we were inspired by Jackass. And when I say we, I mean them. I never did that. I thought that was for morons. Now, this generation is inspired to cut down, arms of the surveillance state and post photos of it to Mike Sherm. And what's crazy is, even further, people are now ultra paranoid that the people posting, destroy these cameras, fuck the surveillance state, they look at those people and go, dude, you are a psyop. You're from the government. And I just feel for this generation of people who never asked for schizophrenia, but they're just being given it, just force-fed, hand over fist.
Come to my own conclusions about the deflocking accounts that keep popping up out of nowhere that seem like a honeypot. They are. Now, since I need to explain everything to everyone all of the time because none of you know how to look anything up anymore.
Now, to validate these people's feelings, again, let's reiterate. This is a private company setting up surveillance equipment that is not regulated in any way with tax dollars. This is money that is being eaten out of your paycheck, and you're paying to essentially be watched. I'm not bringing up the use of your tax dollars to make you upset. I'm trying to give you business advice. Guys, the tried and true method to make $1 trillion in this country is to come up with some bullshit, get it subsidized by the government, put the United States economy on track for total and utter destruction, but you'll be fine. And all that is for another video. Let's get back to the flock safety cameras. Now, because this episode is going so well, I wanted to take a break to thank two sponsors. First, Shopify. Picture this, it's late at night and you're scrolling through your feeds when all of a sudden you see it, that one product you've been looking for. You click on the link, add to cart, maybe even shop around a little more before finally hitting checkout. As you're filling in your address, you realize you don't have your card anywhere near you. That's when you see it. That purple pay button that has all of your information saved, making checkout as simple as a simple tap of your screen. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. Best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. And what if you get stuck? Shopify is always around to share advice with their award-winning 24/7 customer support. And did I mention that iconic Shop Pay button that's used by millions of businesses around the world? It's why Shopify is the best converting checkout on the planet. It also helps boost conversions, meaning less carts going abandoned and more sales for you. See, less carts going abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/companylot. That's shopify.com/companylot. Shopify.com/companylot. I also want to thank Factor. For me, eating healthy isn't a willpower problem, it's a setup problem until I found Factor. Of course, Factor solves any setup problems with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs delivered right to your door. With Factor, I'm hitting my nutrition goals this season without the planning, grocery runs, or cooking. It's ready in just 2 minutes. I love the creamy Parmesan chicken for a protein punch after a workout. Every meal is crafted with functional ingredients, lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole foods, and healthy fats. Factor bans over 175 ingredients, no artificial colors or sweeteners, no high fructose corn syrup, no refined seed oils, just nutrient-dense food. Meals that fit your goals and schedule, healthier eating, calorie management, more protein. Well, my favorite is the creamy Parmesan chicken. Fresh, never frozen, over 100 rotating weekly meals, including globally inspired flavors like Mediterranean and Asian. So there's always something new to look forward to. Try the newly launched ready-to-eat salads with vibrant ingredients like elote corn and miso edamame, plus over 70 add-ons to round out your nutrition, from green juices to peanut butter energy bites. Factor shops, preps, cooks, and delivers straight to your door so you have more time for everything you love this spring. If I needed this product, it's what I'd use. Head to factormeals.com/lot50off and use code lot50off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box. With new subscription only while supplies last until 9/27/2026. See website for more details. And now let's get back into the ever-growing surveillance state. Look, at this point, everyone understands why a company wants to surveil, right? There's plenty of financial incentive to watch people, track them, record that data. I think we're all kind of in agreement there. But I do think it's important that you learn who is behind this company, and that is the one and only Garrett Langley. Garrett founded Flock in Atlanta 9 years ago.
You know, I must start by saying congratulations. I saw the team just announced Series D funding led by Andreessen. You know, you got it on this journey back a few years ago. So, you know, how does it feel right now to have Series D funding under your belt?
It's a bit surreal. I remember when we were at my dining room table or my kitchen table 4 years ago, you know, we said, like, look, this thing's going to really work. We're going to have to raise at least $100 million. You know, it's a hardware company. There's machine vision. There's software. Like, it's an expensive business to build. It's not a pure SaaS play. And it's very weird to now be looking at our, you know, Carta information and see $230 million in total capital raised and be like, all right, I guess it's working pretty well then if we've done this. So
yeah, for sure, man. That is a huge accomplishment. Not many can say, but I would love for you to take it a step further and just educate our listeners on what Flock Safety is practically doing.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, 4 years ago, my co-founders and I were sitting at a dining room table asking the question, why does crime exist? Or, like, bluntly, like, why should crime exist? And I think if you remove the truly evil people in the world, which unfortunately do exist, like, crime is largely an opportunistic problem. It exists because people believe they can get away with it. And so we challenged ourselves to say, like, what if we could build a company that was focused on using technology to help fight crime? If you look at the data as a market, it's like incredibly underserved. The generations before us and the 2 generations before us, the law enforcement industry was largely looked up upon. And if you follow the news today, like that's not largely the case anymore. It is an industry that doesn't have the kind of allure it used to have. And the ramification of that is a lot of people like you and myself don't want to go build technology companies to solve that. So, hey, insurance, that's got a bunch of technology. Finance, it's got a bunch of technology. Real estate, a lot of technology. There's nothing happening in public safety. And so that was kind of the genesis of like, let's go build a public safety technology company.
Now you heard that, right? Garrett recruited a big fat pile of $230 million. And a portion of that pile was given to him by the Founders Fund, which is co-founded by none other than Peter Thiel, Mr. Antichrist himself. Peter Thiel's interest in Flock was the ability to spy on millions of men simultaneously using automation. Fortunately for Peter Thiel, Garrett Langley is married with children, so it makes the chance at sex with Garrett very enticing. It presents itself like an advanced Rubik's Cube, unlike Clavicular, who Peter Thiel would rate more like a standard 3x3 Rubik's Cube, something that's solvable in 30 seconds. And this is not me being homophobic, all right? I have a cited source. I have good authority that says there is a man-on-man mafia in the world of tech. So I'm just speaking to the environment that Garrett comes from. In 2025, Garrett landed a Forbes cover where he articulated his dream to end all crime in 10 years with the use of cameras and drones, which is objectively a psychotic idea, right? Just film and record everyone. Fuck it, add a microphone too. Fuck it, just make all of the United States Love Island. Done. But despite landing this lovely Forbes cover, just 1 year prior, Forbes published this article. This $4 billion car surveillance startup says it cuts crime, but it likely broke the law. Flock became a law enforcement juggernaut by pledging to eradicate crime with AI-powered license plate readers, but local officials in multiple states told Forbes that Flock had violated state laws designed to guarantee driver safety in the process. The AI surveillance cameras on Johns Pass Bridge, southwest of Tampa, Florida, didn't last a week before they were flagged for breaking state rules. Installed in February 2023 on behalf of car surveillance startup Flock Safety and its customer, the Treasure Island Police Department, which doesn't sound real. The devices had been placed there without the approval of the Florida Department of Transportation. It wanted them taken down. Now, Big Bad Garrett in the world of tech has a very decorated, resume. He's sold a handful of apps. He's got a lot of experience recruiting sort of that big tech money. But his career recently seems to be summarized by this one clip.
So, I think there's really two groups of activists. You've got organizations like the ACLU and the EFF who take an above-board approach to fight for their point of view. And thankfully, we live in a beautifully democratic, capitalistic country where we can fight in court.
Now that statement, I'm going to let him finish, but that statement, if it, it should make you pretty angry. At least annoyed. That should make you annoyed because fuck this. The justice system does not work as intended. It is imperfect. We all know that. And obviously he's a salesman. He's going to be saying these things to kind of sweep under, the short-sightedness of what he's trying to do, which is make over, $250 bajillion a year off of this technology on tax money, right? Yeah, that one's annoying. Oh, we can fight in court about it. And I'll get into more of that in a second, but just hold that in your mind, that statement. Oh, we can fight in court about it.
And I have a lot of respect for those groups because they have reasonable debates and we follow the law. And then unfortunately there's terroristic organizations like DFLOC, whose primary motivation is chaos. They are closer to Antifa than they are anything else. And that I think is unfortunate because we don't want chaos, or I don't want chaos. I like law and order. I like a society that has a bedrock of safety.
Essentially, Garrett's worldview is if you bust out a camera, one of his cameras in a Trader Joe's parking lot because you want to be able to yell over a parking spot and only be recorded by the person you're yelling at, not a third party who's siphoning that data for something, you're a terrorist, more or less. I don't know. Philosophers, elaborate in the comments if you think I've missed something.
So for those groups, I think it's just disappointing that they haven't chosen a more constructive mannerism to try to get what they want, which they have a right to have, but that's why we have a democratically elected process, right? Like we're not forcing Flock on anyone. Elected officials know that as a community, you want to be safe. As a family, you want to be safe. And Flock is the best way to create a safe community.
Womp womp.
You're saying Flock does not track people, correct?
Track people, that's right, and hold their movements like you asked. We're not tracking people.
But Flock's own webinars talk about its license plate reader's ability to track vehicles and people.
And we were able to track him all the way over to another state in Kentucky.
And you're able to track your suspect's movements.
We're not forcing Flock on anyone. We went through the democratic process of paying off a city official to get this stuff installed very quickly. I think I'm being like a, smug asshole about this because, first of all, he's a smug asshole. So I don't think I need to meet him in the middle or be on the high road about this. And this is not me going tit for tat. I just think Garrett has that robber baron behavior that tech has exhibited for the last 20 years. It's this weird, I don't know, this friction I feel personally where it infuriates me and simultaneously I feel like there's nothing I can do about it. But these guys, for one reason or another, they get a step ahead and he knows what he does. There's no legal precedent for it. And that's like a big part of the playbook for tech, is going somewhere where there is no precedent. There is no law. So it gives them the sort of, logical argument of I'm not breaking any laws, despite them doing something that is intrusive, maybe morally incorrect, et cetera, et cetera. They hide under that cover, right? And that really, it grinds my gears. What can I say? He says it in this interview. Right here.
Are you still kind of struggling with some of these compliance issues and what are the most kind of pertinent ones at the minute for you?
Yeah, I mean, we've resolved all the ones we're aware of. Now, I think, look, at the end of the day, one of the challenges of being a kind of disruptive technology company is we are ahead of legislation in a lot of ways.
What I love is whenever he stumbles into one of these points, he always has to kind of take a pause because he knows he's just walked himself into some type of difficult thing to defend. So if you watch enough Garrett Langley interviews, he gets really excited to kind of, prove his point. And then he falls into one of these and he has to pause and go, ooh, how do I bring this one back? Now, I want to take a second to look past, logical arguments about the law and the sort of the personal rights you should have in a public space, and just look at Garrett Langley and the amount of podcasts he's doing. He's doing a lot of podcasts to try to prove what his company is doing is okay. And I'm not empathetic to him in any way. This is me trying to say, Garrett, you need to pack it up. There's a lot of dudes that watch my channel. And guys, if we just roll some of the clips, you've been here before. When you piss off your lady and you're trying to do that, yeah, but see, now I didn't do all that shit you asked me because I was trying to hit. And she's got that look, that. And you feel it, you feel the quicksand and you feel that feeling where you're bombing and her feelings are just getting bigger and bigger and you've dug the hole now. And you don't want to let it go that you just made her mad and you gotta say it. I'm sorry. That's what Garrett Langley looks like to me. Garrett, look at me, Garrett. Garrett, not over here. Look at me, dude. You fucked up. Okay? I'll say it again. You fucked up, man. You made a lot of people upset. And that's just it. You have to say sorry now. And I know you don't like that. But you have to say sorry. I know you thought, what if I make a surveillance company that makes $1 million? Everyone's gonna think I'm fucking cool and smart. They don't, dude. They hate you. You have to say, I'm sorry. You have to shit in your own hand and you got to smear it on your face and say, I'm sorry on hands and knees. You got to put that on TikTok. You actually have to stream that live for several days in a row. You can't eat publicly. You have to starve publicly if you want any bit of good grace. And you're still going to have to break the cameras. I don't think you understand that. You got to give it all up, dude. So just say you're sorry. One thing seems very clear. Garrett is trying to save face for his company. And the more people talk about Flock, the more Flock contracts get canceled. I guess if I were to get on my, YouTube diamond-plated soapbox, I would say this. I think these things are worth at least talking about. Me as the piss computer guy, revolutionary genius in the space of, environmental restoration. It's worth at least discussing what little autonomy we have left, because some autonomy is better than no autonomy. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.